What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video, and I want to talk about my expectations for the Detroit Lions under first-year head coach Dan Campbell. Now, a couple of months ago, a couple of days after the draft, I made a video about the Lions titled "Why the Detroit Lions Will Be Better Than What You Think." Now, of course, all Lions fans pretty much agreed with my take on the team in that video, but a bunch of non-Lions fans out there said that I was overrating the Detroit Lions. Now, as I see more and more people doing their record predictions, I see a lot of people who aren't as high on Detroit as I am. Okay, now my expectations for the Detroit Lions is that they should win 5 games or more this year. That's my expectation. Okay, now I'm high on both Detroit and Jacksonville. Now, I'm not expecting neither of those teams to be playoff caliber football teams, and I'm not expecting Jacksonville and Detroit to be world beaters per se, but I am expecting these two teams to be really competitive. When you look at Detroit, this is what I'm looking for. I want to see, A, how many one-possession games are they going to be in this year? Because one-possession games is a good determining factor in determining where you are as a football team. For example, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers went 5-11 in 2020 last season. Out of their 11 losses, 7 of them were decided by 7 points or less. That's what you want to see with a new head coach with a new team. You want to see how many tightly contested games are they going to be and how many games are going to be decided by a touchdown or less. Because then after the season, you can look back upon those games. You can be like, if the ball bounced a different direction, we could have won that game. So as you continue to improve the team and improve the culture overall, next year, you could be like, okay, we were in these many one-possession games. This year, we should be able to win those games. So if you're a Lions fan, okay, you should be wanting to see a Lions team that's going to be in a lot of close games this year. And also, the next thing you want to see is how many of those close games are you going to be able to win? Because one thing that Matt Patricia struggled to do was to win those tightly contested contests, and he also struggled to maintain leads. Now, another thing that I want to see out of Detroit this year, I want to see them win some games in this division. Now, I made a bet with my homeboy, who happens to be a Packers fan, that the Detroit Lions will at least win 1 game against Green Bay this year. Not 2, but 1. Now, another thing that Matt Patricia struggled to do was to win games inside of the division. And I don't even think he won that many games in the North. Like, how many? I don't really know the number off the top of my head, but I definitely know that it wasn't a lot. So for Dan Campbell, okay, I want to see, is he going to be able to beat the Bears, the Vikings, or pull off a win against the Green Bay Packers per se? Because I didn't see Matt Patricia have a lot of success inside the division. And if you want to be a playoff caliber football team, it starts with being able to win the games against the teams that you face twice a season. Now, you look at Jared Goff, and I've seen a lot of people have harsh criticisms about Jared Goff. Jared Goff is not one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay, I think Jared Goff is an average quarterback. Now, did Detroit downgrade from Matthew Stafford? Yes, they did. And I'm not about to get into no spats in the comment section of you Detroit Lions fans about Matthew Stafford. At the end of the day, Matthew Stafford was the second best QB in that division, and he definitely is one of the most underrated QBs in the NFL. Not about to get in the spat with that. But when you look at Jared Goff, okay, he wasn't terrible. It's just that Sean McVay wanted something more. Sometimes in life, we just get tired of the same old thing, and we look to, try to find the next best thing. For example, how many people do you know have a nice car in their driveway, and then a couple of weeks later, they go ahead and they get another car? And you ask them, why did you get this car? You already had a BMW in your driveway. Why do you feel you had to go get you a Lambo truck? Oh, because I wanted it because it looks nice. And for Sean McVay, the grass may not be greener on the other side. Maybe he made a mistake having the Rams trade for Matthew Stafford in exchange for Jared Goff. Who knows? But when you look at Jared Goff, Jared Goff definitely is going to be able to win you some games. He definitely was pretty solid during his career with the Rams, especially in the playoffs. It's just that ever since that 2018 Super Bowl loss against New England, he kind of has regressed. And sometimes you have players who just need a change of scenery. So for Jared Goff, maybe getting traded to the Detroit Lions may be the thing that he needed to get his career going back in the right direction. Now he has a coaching staff that wants him, because if the Lions didn't want him, I don't think they would have traded for him, because there were plenty of other teams who they could have traded Matthew Stafford to. And the 49ers really wanted Matthew Stafford a lot. And I also heard some rumblings of maybe Denver was somewhat in the mix. So there were a lot of teams that the Detroit Lions could have traded Matthew Stafford too. And the fact that they traded him in exchange for Jared Goff shows you that they wanted Jared Goff. I don't think they just got Jared Goff for him to be a salary cap dump or whatnot. Because if the Lions didn't really believe in Jared Goff, I think they probably would have ended up drafting a quarterback this year, because Justin Fields was on the board. So the fact that they passed on Justin Fields, I think that leads you to believe that there's a little bit of confidence in Jared Goff. Now, is he the long-term answer up there in Detroit? That remains to be decided. I think you have to give him a year or two, then we'll go from there. But for Detroit, you have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, top 5, no worse than top 10, depending on who you're asking. So you have a great offensive line, and you're also really good inside the trenches. And with those two pieces alone, you should at least be able to win 5 games, because football is still won and lost in the trenches. I know everybody talks about how Detroit has one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL, okay, but I don't think Tyrell Williams is bad. Back in 2019, when Tyrell Williams played for the Raiders, he actually was their best receiver, because that's when Antonio Brown went on his rampage. The Las Vegas Raiders traded for him and gave him a new contract. He ended up trying to fight the general manager, and they had to get rid of him. So Tyrell Williams was able to step up, and he ended up contributing. He ended up being their best wide receiver. So Tyrell Williams does have the talent to carry the load at the wide receiver position. Now, he's not great, but he's definitely pretty solid, okay? Then, it seems like some people are forgetting about TJ Hockenson. Like, everybody says JT, they have no weapons in the passing game. And yet, I was like, you do know that TJ Hockenson is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, right? I guess that just goes to show you how many people don't pay attention to the Detroit Lions. Because if you at least watched at least one Lions game, you would know that TJ Hockenson is one of the best tight ends in the game right now. So the fact that people try to make it seem like Detroit has no weapons in the pass game kind of irritates me a little bit, because TJ Hockenson plays a really critical position. Like, having an elite tight end in the NFL can elevate your offense from average to elite. You look at George Kittle, you look at Travis Kelce. If you have an elite tight end, that opens up so many things that you can do with your offense. And that's what Detroit has. And I'm expecting a breakout season for TJ Hockenson this year, if he didn't have it already last year. Some people say last year was his breakout year, but I think this year could be his breakout year, because I think he has potential to be one of the best 3 tight ends in the game. So I am expecting Detroit to be really competitive this year. I don't think that they're going to, be the worst team in the NFL. I don't think they're worse than the Houston Texans, especially if Deshaun Watson doesn't play this year, which is looking like Deshaun Watson will not play this year for Houston. So I definitely think that Detroit should win more than 5 games this year. And if the Detroit Lions win less than 5 games this year, then I'm going to be giving Dan Campbell the eyeball, and maybe he may not be the right guy for Detroit, because I don't really think there's no way that you can't win 5 games. And when you look at the schedule, there are a lot of easy winnable games. Games that I think Detroit should be favored to win, like Cincinnati, for example. I also think there's some good teams that Detroit could beat. I think they could pull off the upset against Seattle. I definitely think they can pull off the upset against Pittsburgh, because we know one thing about Pittsburgh is that they'll show up when it comes to play the good teams. But when it comes to play teams that they should beat, they always end up getting let down. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Detroit Lions were able to pull off the upset against Pittsburgh, especially with it being on the road. It happened before. It happens a lot of times. Wouldn't be surprised. So for everybody out there that's doubting Detroit, keep on doubting Detroit. I don't think that I'm overrating the Detroit Lions. The same people who are saying that I'm overrating the Detroit Lions are the same people who were saying that I was overrating the Washington football team last season when I said they were going to win 7 games. What happened? They won 7 games. Those same people who are saying I'm overrating the Detroit Lions are the same people who were saying I was overrating the Buffalo Bills for 2 straight years in a row. What happened to Buffalo? Oh, they went to the playoffs last year. They won the division. Season before that, they also went to the playoffs. Let's not make it seem like I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a lot of confidence in Detroit this year. I have a lot of confidence in the Jaguars this year. I think Detroit is going to be a really competitive football team. So let me know what's your expectations for the Detroit Lions this season. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.